a lot of this is based on long-term viewpoints and short-term perspective, which don't necessarily work hand in hand all the time. And also, I think this comes from an all or nothing mindset. There's a lot of us in sales related industries. We tend to have kind of an all or nothing approach to some things. Well, I'm either all in or I'm all out. And when it comes to your life, I just don't think that that's probably a good way to approach it.
Welcome back to 10 Tenths, where we coach real estate agents out of burnout into high producing businesses that fuel their life. I got my friend Matt Benelli with me as always today. We got a great topic for you. I'll make this really fast. If you like what we stand for, if you like where we go, come check out 10tenths.co. We have an incredible community there of amazing people. We just got off an incredible coaching call with a whole bunch of people talking about what needs to be done to make success and life happen in this industry. We'd love to have you come join us as a free trial. With that being said, Matt, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the
Welcome.
podcast. We have a good topic. We got to talk about the chicken or the egg today and which one came first.
Yes.
So we get, which is a metaphor, obviously. We're not going to talk about chickens and eggs. One of the best breakfasts you can make, by the way, is scrambled eggs with some spicy pulled chicken. It's something that I have a lot because then I don't have to worry about what came first because I get to have them both in one dish.
And that is about all we're going to talk about when it comes to chickens and eggs. What we are going to talk about is what comes first: success and income in business or happiness in life. And we find this happen a lot, Matt, where we watch people that are putting the hammer down, growing a great business, growing a great success plan for the future, going, I can't wait to fully get to and enjoy this life and not have a need for all the income at some point. And then vice versa. Some people think, well, if I'm going to enjoy this life right now and I'm really going to take this all in, I need to sacrifice maybe some of that, income for the future and things like that, maybe not had that level of success with business. And it's brought up some interesting conversations. And man, we watch a lot of people avoid sometimes being really successful because they don't want to give up on life right now. We just had a conversation with that in the group coaching call. It's like, well, where do you balance this out and how do you do this? And a lot of it is perspective. And, we're gonna kind of kick this around today and look at this from some different angles. Because I've said to you, Matt, perspective's everything. You can be standing on the beach in the Bahamas and not even see how beautiful the ocean is because your feet are burning in the sand, and that's all you can think about. And this is a real thing a lot of people deal with as they're moving through this life.
Yeah, it is. And I think a lot of this is based on long-term viewpoints and short-term perspective, which don't necessarily work hand in hand all the time. And also, I think this comes from an all or nothing mindset. There's a lot of us in sales related industries. We tend to have kind of an all or nothing approach to some things. Well, I'm either all in or I'm all out. And when it comes to your life, I just don't think that that's probably a good way to approach it, because then you'll come up with these ideas of, well, if I want to enjoy my life right now, I'm just going to have to accept the fact that I'm not going to build a business or make money. Or if I want to make money, I just have to accept the fact that I'm going to have zero life. And because I don't want to say that you can have everything. You can't, oh, well, I'm just going to have the utopian life and it's going to be sunshine and rainbows and money's going to fall from the sky and it's going to be so amazing and I'm going to be able to sleep in and not go to work. Like, okay, and maybe that can happen. However, there's this in between, which comes down to our mindset, our approach, our habits, Garrett, and how we want to make choices around the things that we say fuel our life, that bring us joy and happiness, because there's a lot of choices in this too, Garrett.
Well, I think also when we look at this all or nothing, like we look at some people's success levels and we go like, okay, that's it. We are also looking at their highlight reel. We're looking at all the best of the best stuff on the surface that we can see. And there's a lot of other stuff that they have gone through to be able to get there, and work that they've put in, and failures and turmoil and all kinds of things that come along the path where it's not all roses and it's not all sunshine all the time. And I think for a lot of people, when they are building this vision of getting to those levels, they don't take the time to understand all the things that make that so great when you get there, to make what you've built there so awesome as you move down that path. But this idea of having to sacrifice, having to give up. I mean, yeah, there's a place there of like, we might work harder during these times and during these, but the enjoyment of life, and this is where it kind of started this whole thing, Matt, is that I think that whole mindset of once I get there, I'll be happy. Once I get there, I'll be able to enjoy this life. Once I get there, I have watched people chase that all the way to the grave. And sure. Never get to experience it, never get to say, it's there. And then I've watched people get there and go, I thought this would be different. Like all I'm doing is working really hard now, and I've got all these responsibilities and all these things, and now I'm not able to enjoy what I thought I was going to be able to enjoy. And now all of a sudden that I've got all the money and the time, my kids are not here anymore. They're all grown up and they're gone, and now I'm not able to enjoy what I thought I was going to get to enjoy. I did a little bit of that once all of a sudden it was like, we have our houseboat. And there was this vision of all of us on the back of the houseboat, all of us having fun. We're going to remodel this thing and put all this hard work into it. And I spent hours up there, days and weeks working on this houseboat, making it be this thing. And by the time I got it done, what do you mean they're graduating? What do you mean? We're supposed to have summers and all this stuff, and everybody's going to come back. And it's like it never got to be what it could have been, because I wasn't finding the joy in the journey of it. And I think that this is where, a lot of people have to come back and anchor themselves too in their world and kind of take inventory of what are we really trying to do, and perspective, as you said, Matt, where am I right now and how am I interpreting my own personal world right now?
Yeah. And on the other side of that too, is if you truly believe in what you're doing, that it's going to build something great that serves, that has an impact, that there are going to be choices that you make. Last week I had to, the choice was already made for me because I had already had the schedule, but like, oh, my daughter's home. She had like a performance at the end of her camp, and I had a commitment to do for work, and I did my work commitment and I didn't see that. And some people will be like, oh man, you're missing these opportunities. And I'm like, okay, but that was one thing. It's one camp. Like, my wife took a video. It was cool. I got to see her afterwards. It was great. And I think when you have choices that are already made, it's a lot easier to accept what is happening due to those choices. And a lot of times, Garrett, I think we listen to so many outside voices say, well, that's good or that's bad.
Yep.
And then we say, oh, I guess I need to do it this way because society or this person or that person is telling me X, Y, and Z. It was like what we were talking about with pricing the other day. Actually, this was just today. We were talking about it right before recording this podcast, where some people are fearful of pricing their house a certain way because, like, well, what if my neighbor gets upset with my price? It's like, what? Yeah. Why are we allowing these voices to come in to make choices that we know at a core, like, we can make? And yes, there will be some times where you probably think, I'm going to sacrifice this, but you're happy about that, quote, sacrifice, because you understand and you have a plan mapped out for what that means. And I think this is where a lot of people get caught, Garrett, is they look at work and that journey, and they don't have a definition of what success looks like over there. So it just becomes a constant burden, a never ending burden that, well, I just got to go grind it out and someday something will happen. So we got to stop looking for the someday and let's create a definition around it so that you can actually have a great plan. So the choices are made early on. And then you can also factor in and make the life choices first so they fit with the plan that you're building for work. That makes sense.
Well, and this is where I go, like, one of your number one goals I've always looked at is, okay, take your situation that you're in right now and say, okay, yeah, there are things about this situation that are not the most favorable. I get that. Like, everything's not perfect. But do I want to choose to focus on that, or do I want to choose to focus on all the things that really are really good in the grand scheme of my journey on this planet? Like, yeah, I do have this, and this is working. And, you know, it might be something as simple as I've got this really cool brown lab sharing this space with me right now, which her name's Penny, which is underneath my feet right now. You might just take the some of the stuff and just be like, she brings so much happiness into my life and my time, and the look on her face when I walk in the door and the excitement that she's there for me. And everybody says she gets more excited for me than anybody else. I'm going to take that and be like, okay, that I've earned the love of this animal and this pet. And like, what are all the things in our life though that we can pull in and go, this is the amazing parts of this moment right now, this life that I'm living as I am growing into this next part and these next things and these next parts of my journey. The danger is that we get so focused on the stuff that we don't like, that we're frustrated with, that we are bogged down with, and we keep going, once I get to this next place, everything's going to be perfect because I'm going to fix all this stuff here. Well, there's different things that come at that next level that we can sit there and go, this is frustrating, this is bothering me, this is not perfect. And it's a training of your brain of what you choose to look for. And one of the best things you can do is get into that mindset. That's why gratitudes are so powerful. Get yourself into the mind state of gratitude right now, because that allows you then to be in whatever your environment you're in, you're happy with still a mindset of growth. I am living a life of abundance and happiness in this moment. And I am now able to grow to the next level where I'm going to see all the abundance and growth and loveliness of that next level. And yeah, there's still going to be stuff we're working on. And there's still going to be stuff that you're going to be going, I'm not, this over here, we got to figure out some things of how we're going to fix that and make that better. But man, the opposite, Matt, when you're stuck focusing on the negative, I don't care what level you go to. I don't care where you go. You're never be able to enjoy that plateau that you've made it to and sit there and go, look where I'm at. You're constantly going, I got to get off this hill. Where's the next hill? I got to go to the next hill. And that's where you never get to enjoy the life.
The scarcity versus abundance mindset. If you're focused on lack, you're going to attract more lack. And this is even more important in the real estate industry, right? Where you are in a service space where your energy matters to your clients. How you show up will impact their results. And anybody listening can do this right now. Picture the last time you went to any event where there was multiple people. Could have been a small event, dinner party, could have been a large party, right? Who do you want to hang out with at those events? The person who's like, oh man, you know, I'm going to tell you all the horrible things in my life. Or do you want to talk to the person who's like, hey, you're here. Dude, grab a beer. We're going to have such a great time tonight. Probably the person who's excited, living in abundance, making the most of whatever environment that they're in. You probably don't want to hang out with the Debbie Downer. Sorry, Debbies that are listening here.
But Matt, you know what's interesting is we attract like for like energy. So there's an interesting thing that happens at an event like that where, you know, we want to hang around the players and the fun people and all that kind of stuff. But when your energy is in the negative space, you will find like for like to go hang out with, because you can find commonalities and like or interest and know, like you're going through hell in your job too. Yeah. Oh, me too. And wait, what's happening with your health? You have what? What were you just diagnosed with? I was just diagnosed with something too. We look for the like for like. And this is the beauty of when you start to say, okay, whoa. We all understand we're dealing with stuff. We focus on these things over here. All of a sudden, being around the people that are also enjoying, they're also seeing the good out of all this stuff. They're the ones that you were just talking about, Matt. All of a sudden, we want to go hang out with them.
Yeah, because it's not about what you don't have or what you're trying to get or what you desire or even what you want. It's about what are you going to do with what you have right now, because that's what you have to make something great with. So in the chicken or egg of, is it life or is it your financial success first? It's always life first. It's always life first because it already exists for you. And you can use it to help attract and build towards great things, or you can use it to stay at the same, attract mediocrity, or even pull yourself down. And I'm not saying that doesn't make it easy, right, Garrett? There's always things that we struggle with. We're going to face roadblocks. There's going to be challenges. But if we meet them with a sense of, I have a great life to be able to have the opportunity to address this challenge, to get through it. And I'm grateful for the strength, for being in this industry, for working in a field, for whatever it is where I can manage this. We can get through this versus, oh my gosh, this is going to ruin me. I'm going to forever be never successful, or I'm going to miss the lives of everybody that I love. And we need to cut that language out of our own mind so that we can move forward. And so I think it starts with that choice, Garrett, of saying, hey, I choose life first. It doesn't mean, and this is where we can get into some strategy on this maybe, is that doesn't mean you're not going to choose to work. It doesn't mean the answer is always, well, cancel that because I'm going to go see this thing with my kids. It's like, no, sometimes we're going to miss the soccer game.
I'm just fishing. I'm just going to go fish all the time. That just sounds great.
Always fish. But sometimes you might miss something that would be perceived as a special moment, let's say. You might miss the soccer game, but if you chose in advance to miss the soccer game, you're not missing it. There's nothing missed. Does that make sense? Because you have made the choice that I'm going to work on this thing on that particular day because I'm going to go to the next one, whatever it is. It doesn't mean that you have to be all in or all out. There is middle grounds everywhere, and it all comes down to your own perspective and own choices.
There are sacrifices made all the time, and I think this is one of those ones of being aware. You only have so many hours in the day. There's only so many hours in the week, and we have things that are important to us. And there's certainly, I had a conversation with one of my kids the other day, and it was like I made the comment of like, we don't have the money to do that right now, and she took it as a whole totally different situation. But it opened up a better conversation of, I'm choosing not to spend my money on that right now. Now, whether you're choosing to spend money, I'm choosing not to spend my time on that right now. Like, there are all these choices that we get to make. And this is part about being really clear in what the bigger picture is and what you're doing and who you are, is you get to make very clear choices. And I mean, there's times in my world, I have 3 kids, that I've had to go, oh, by the way, I can't see your soccer tournament. I'm going to a dance recital for another daughter. Well, why can't you be there for both of us? That's not how this works.
Physically impossible.
There's a choice being made. I got to go to your soccer game last time, and now I'm going to the dance this time. Like, we get to make these choices. And when you're very clear on what your priorities are and you're very clear on what's important, you get to make smart choices around it. And I think in your life, Matt, you said a great thing is your life was here. That's already given to you. You're building this business. We have a perspective of this life of what we choose to focus on. And I think some tools around this for people would be really good to be like, what are some tools that allow you to focus or to run at your highest level you can potentially run at? One is, Matt, is I think we talk about vision and we talk about your mission. These are things that people are lacking in a lot of their world, and they're just bumbling through. They're wishing they had something better. They don't really know where they're going. They don't really know what we're really trying to build on a bigger picture. They might get a glimpse of it once a year when they do a business plan. They go, oh yeah, that's right. That's who I was growing into be. They might do that, but for the most part, the rest of the year, we just kind of bumble along through. No mission, no bigger vision. You can stop almost anybody and say, what's your mission and what is your vision in your life? And they won't have a clear answer for you. I can almost guarantee you. They might have some little keywords. They might go home and do some research and be able to come back to you with something and be like, ooh, I actually sat down and built one. Here's what I stand for. But that is a fundamental thing that you need to know about yourself if you want to start to go, okay, am I leading a life going in a direction that is fulfilling me right now? And It doesn't mean you have all the cars. It doesn't mean you have a jet. It doesn't mean you have the big house. That's not what it comes down to. It comes down to, what are my core things that I've decided bring me happiness, bring me joy, and am I choosing to focus that on an everyday world right now, or have I lost sight of it? I think that's a big piece that all of you can go and do right now is figure out, what is that vision and what does that mission actually mean?
Yeah. And if you focus on that, think about it, you're going to have better choices that are made because you're able to own your choices. Garrett, I think a lot of people will, I made the choice, but I didn't have a choice really, right? The circumstances or the environment really dictated my choice. And I was like, no, you always have a choice. It's owning the after of that choice that becomes important. So it's like, you know what? If you took on a big project and now it is requiring some of your time, if you want to stay on that project, which is going to mean you might miss out on some family moments, own the choice. Be like, I took this project. There is a reason for it. It's aligning with my values and my mission. And I'm a little bummed that I'm going to be missing this here. However, I know because it aligns that it's going to provide fruit in a different form down the road. If that's not there, then yeah, maybe you do need to leave the project. But the last thing that we want to do is use these circumstances as an excuse as to why we don't enjoy our life, right? Because if you're not enjoying life first, it's going to be really hard to put the energy and intention into creating and attracting the income for when you do enjoy life, because you're like the podcast we did a couple months ago, it's just going to always lead to this. Well, there's just a next step. There just needs to be some more. There just needs to be some more before I can be happy. And like, gosh, I've seen people who have nothing be super happy. I've seen people who have everything be super happy. Happiness comes down to the choice. Now that the limit of what we earn and attract comes down to our intention, which the other tool that's required here, Garrett, is your habits, your schedule, right? I guarantee that for a lot of the people that we work with, because we do this on our coaching calls, is when they're like, I'm struggling. Like, I can't see a way out. I feel like I'm always, doing this or that. I'm always a victim of what's coming in. And I said, okay, let's just take a look at the calendar. And it's empty, right? There's just nothing on the calendar. It's like, well, that's why, because you haven't said what you're going to be focused on. You haven't put that stamp on the calendar saying, this is what I'm going to do with my time. So other people are filling your time because you don't have a choice. You haven't made a choice. So choices are being made, or you're being presented with choices constantly. So you're burning out from decision fatigue, when if you make the choice at the beginning of the week, the beginning of the month, the beginning of the year on where your time is going to be spent, now you won't burn out from decision fatigue because the choice has been made.
Well, if you've got your mission and vision, and you've got like core values, and you know your goals and what's important to you in your life, man, you're 100% right. Because then when you start building in a schedule, you get to constantly look at every hour that you've given and go, okay, does that hour fit with this person that I'm growing into be, the rewards that I want to have in the future? And when you're letting somebody else fill your schedule, when you're letting somebody else fill your time, I guarantee you, it is not fulfilling the bigger vision of who you're growing into and whatnot. You are fulfilling maybe their bigger vision and what they're growing into and what they want to have. So you get to take control of this, and very few people do. And it's one of the, when we're coaching people and working with them, Matt, more often than not, as you said, it's either blank or it is packed full of stuff that none of it represents them.
Right.
And they go,
they're like, oh, I want to be healthier. And nowhere on the calendar is anything about exercise or meal prepping or anything like that. It's just packed with a bunch of other stuff. Well, I don't have time to be healthy. It's like, you just have chosen not to put it on there.
Well, and that's the answer. They go, well, where in the world am I going to fit it in? I mean, it's easy for you to say on the outside going to schedule in more time, but where am I going to fit it in this schedule? And this is where I have to have people, once they build the vision and the mission and the core values and bring all that out, we sometimes have to go 3 weeks into the future of their calendar before they've let everybody else take over that time yet, and go, here's where you're going to schedule it. Here's where you're going to start to build in the life and the habits and the activities that are going to give you the future that you want to have. And then you will just naturally start to produce that. It will naturally, you got to show up for it. That's a really important thing. Once you have it on the calendar, you have to be the person that's going to show up for those things. But it's got to start there. And the nice thing about that then is now you have a life that resonates with the person that you want to be growing into, the person that you go, this is what's important to me, and this is what I want to have. I do want to go back to the other thing I want to add in this, Matt, is gratitude. And
you're like brainwaving right here, 3,000 miles away. I know. It's amazing.
When I look at I think gratitude can do some interesting things where in mindset for people. I think there's some people that say, if I'm just so grateful for everything that I have in my world right now, I feel that that might stop me from growing into this person that I want to be in the future. And what I have personally watched in my world and in people that I've worked with is that if you truly put yourself into a state of gratitude, one is you get to enjoy the life that you're currently in right now, because you're seeing all the stuff that even the little things of the mere fact that I've got four walls around me and a roof over my head that's protecting me from the sun so that I actually have an environment that feels comfortable to live in at the moment. That's an amazing thing. I should be grateful for that right now. Take all these pieces of gratitude, and what it does is it makes you resonate at a higher frequency. And so then as you start to put your mind into these goals and this future and this calendar that's now in front of you of these things that you want to be doing, it brings the best out of those activities. You show up better for the workout. You show up better for the meeting with the person that you're going to be getting into. It allows you to be clearer about everything in your life. And yeah, Matt, when you're all of a sudden saying, I'm not going to make it to the dance performance because I got to go over here and I'm choosing to go do this, you're looking at it from a bigger picture of not that I'm maybe letting my daughter down by not being there. You're looking at it as like, I've been to this one. I've been to this one. We've been smiling in the crowd. And one of these, I'm choosing to go do something else because it also fits this bigger picture that I'm growing to. And you get to look at that as I am grateful that I get to make this choice. And I have this opportunity, and I'm grateful I got to go to the one that was before, and I'm grateful I'm going to the one next week or the month after this. I have so much gratitude for all these pieces. And gratitude is, again, it's not given enough power. And I think a lot of people, when you hear the word, oh, do you do gratitudes and things like that? It's almost like this fluffy thing of like, oh yeah, I do gratitudes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it is one of the more powerful things you can do every single day, multiple times a day, that will help you resonate and enjoy the world that you're currently in right now.
Yeah. And it's going to help you uncover purpose, because if you're not grateful, then you miss the opportunity to understand why you're there in any moment. Because when you are grateful, all of a sudden the whys just show up, right? No matter how terrible of a situation it might look. If you can be grateful for certain things, you don't have to be grateful necessarily for circumstances that put you there. For example, last night I'm in the hospital with my dad. I was able to bring him pizza, which he hasn't had pizza in over 5 months. For those of you who are catching up to speed, my dad's been in the hospital since January. And I'm not grateful that he has cancer and is in the hospital, but I was so grateful for the moment to be able to bring him his favorite pizza and see the joy on his face as he was like, oh, I've missed this. And we had such a great time. Whereas if I just focused on zero gratitude and just were like, oh man, we're still in the hospital. This is terrible. I have to put on this mask and all this stuff, which that's terrible. And that sucks. But I'm so grateful that I get these moments with my dad to share in those experiences. And it helps me understand, well, you know what? Why I was there yesterday was to be able to bring him pizza, right? And if I wasn't in a state of gratitude, I may have blown it off for some reason. But instead, finding the gratitude, discovered the why for the moment, which brought a ton of joy, man. And I don't want people to miss out on that, Garrett. And this is the choosing life first. Then the money's going to be there. It's going to be there. Like, it's going to come.
Well, and Matt, I think the interesting thing is that isn't it if you're truly in a state of gratitude, you say the money's going to be there, but it's okay with whatever money is there. That's
the point.
It's one of those
That's
things.
The beauty of it.
That if there's $1 million that come in, awesome. If there's 100,000 that comes in, great. And it's one of those things that's because the life is, you're in a space where you're truly getting to live and enjoy the environment and what's here. And these things are bonuses. And when that life for some day gets to give you, because of your success and because of what you've done and the lives that you've impacted, all of a sudden you get to have the car that you're always like, I've always wanted this car. It doesn't define you. It is not the thing that's making you happy. It's just an element that you get to go, how cool is this that this now gets to get added into my journey and my life and what I'm doing here right now in this already amazing place. And if the car doesn't come into it, it's not like, oh, woe me, I never got to have that, because that's not what defines your happiness and who you are. And I want to encourage everybody, and I would go opposite of what we just gave you here. I would start off with find gratitude. But that is one of the best things you can do, is find gratitude, and then start to back into it where you're going, okay, now let's start to build in this world that causes these successes to happen, causes this world to happen around me, that I'll be making the higher income and I will be helping more people, and we're going to be, living this certain life. Start to build out the plan around that. But the happiness and the enjoyment of life has to come first. Otherwise, you're always constantly chasing it. I have watched people chase it for years. And I've even had some people recently, Matt, that have been like, you know what? After years of doing this, I'm done chasing the dollar. And sometimes that chasing of the dollar, that when I heard them say that, that is that mindset of I'm chasing this dollar in the pursuit of happiness. And it's like, it was never the thing that was making me happy to begin with. You've got to take the step back, and this is where start from where we end this. Start with gratitude, start working your way in, and do it a couple times a day. You'll be amazed. You will be amazed at how your mindset shifts just by stopping and just taking in the little things that are all around you.
Yeah. It really is amazing, and it will help you build a business that fuels your life, not a business that consumes your life. And that's, as you guys know, who've listened to the podcast now for this podcast for many years, to Garrett and I since, 7 years now, 8 years now. Yeah. That's our mission, right? Is we want you guys to live a life that is fueled by gratitude, and that you have a business that supplements it and complements it very nicely, instead of having a business that's on life support. Because I've seen it, I've lived it, right? Where the business just requires all of your life. And that's not going to stop the more money you make. In fact, the more that kind of business makes, typically, Garrett, as we see, it requires more of your life, because the mindset that went into building that business was, it takes everything out of me to do this. And you don't see the opportunities that allow you to build something even bigger and better that fuels your life, and also a lot of other people that you got to bring along for that journey. So if that feels good to you, if you like that approach, come join us at 10tenths. You can go to 10tenths.co and check out what we have to offer, and join us inside of our 11 Circle or group program. And I believe at this point, when this podcast goes live, we are announcing to everybody our first live event, which I hope we still have seats available for.
Yeah, as you're now saying it may have any space,
because it does cap at 40 people. And if it is sold out already, this is the benefit of being inside our group program, because we give access to things like this to those people first. It's only fair. But if there are some seats left, we'd love for you to come join us. And if there are, they're going to be available at our website, 10tenths.co. You'll be able to find everything there for it. But it's going to be a lot of fun, Garrett. So thank you. Thanks for this conversation, man. As always, grateful for you and grateful for everybody who's tuning in.
Appreciate everybody out there. Thanks for listening. And we'll be back soon, as always.
We will. Yeah, I hope so. See y'all.